Welcome back to our true first episode this week of the greatest podcast on turf. I'm Anthony.
I'm Ryan.
Today we are here with our annual make or break fantasy football. What's the word I'm looking for? Like
my guys?
Yeah, my guys. But like this is like the make or break episode of like if you're a fantasy football guru or if you're an asshole. Because watching last year's video, you were safe. And I was just out there. I had a defense in my guys.
To be fair.
And they were like a bottom 10 defense.
The guys I listened to and the guys that made this idea of fantasy footballers, they have been assholes before. They led me down the Kenyon Drake path.
Oh my God. The Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first, Kenyon Drake in the second?
There was the Kenyon Drake path. They led me down that path. I forget who else was on that path, but they were wrong on multiple times. And, people are wrong. But I'm telling you right now, we're not going to be wrong.
Oh my God, we're not. This is our second annual My Guys episode and our best one yet at that.
But like I mentioned, this is our My Guys episode. Be sure to check out the Fantasy Footballers My Guys episode because we 100% may or may definitely took.
I wouldn't say we took it. I would say we piggybacked off their idea and made some tweaks to it and made it our own.
But it is definitely derived from them, and you definitely want to check it out because we listen to those guys too.
It is based off of it's like we're like the Walmart version, or like when you order fantasy footballers on Wish, you get me and Ryan.
Yeah.
But no, later in the week we're uploading another fantasy football mock draft. You guys have been killing those, absolutely killing them. Yo. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tomorrow or Thursday or tomorrow or Friday. I don't know. I think I'm gonna upload Wednesday this week. We're uploading our top targets in each round of fantasy football, guys in each round that we love, guys that we hate. And real quick, before we start talking about our My Guys, Ryan's going to tell you guys about today's sponsor real quick.
Little Italy Pizzeria. They got the best cheesesteaks, the best pizza in all of Delaware. 2 locations. One of those is in Middletown, Delaware. The other one is in Townsend. It is a great family business. So great food, great people, great prices. Be sure to come in and check it out. Let them know that the greatest podcast on turf sent you. They will take care of you. Show proof that you're subscribed to let you listen to us, and they will hook you up with an additional discount.
Also, if you are in the Fishtown, PA area, Anthony, me, I'm setting up at a card show, the Fishtown Card Show this weekend. Be sure to go check it out. If you're in the area, stop by. I'll be set up selling cards. It's going to be a really good time. I'll be there selling my sports cards. If you guys don't know, I'm an avid sports card collector. Fishtown Card Show, check it out. I talked about it on my Instagram more, on my card Instagram. You'll see me around there, so be sure to follow that. And my first My Guy. This guy is my first My Guy for a reason. I am extremely high on this guy. I did a lot of research dating back to 2008, 2009 to get some stats on why I love this guy so much. And that guy is Michael Pittman Jr. of the Indianapolis Colts. He is my number 8 ranked fantasy football wide receiver this year on my personal rankings. Look at it like this. Michael Pittman's coming off a great year this year, 1,000-yard season, almost double-digit touchdowns. He has Matt Ryan, who they bought in, who's a lot better than Carson Wentz. This is the best quarterback that Michael Pittman has had in his career. He did have Phillip Rivers his last year, and he had Carson Wentz last year. But the fact of the matter is, I'm so high on Michael Pittman this year just because, again, they have Matt Ryan, who's a stud. Matt Ryan is a great game manager. He's a great facilitator. He's going to go do his thing. Last year, with Jonathan Taylor having his breakout year, Jonathan Taylor was the best running back in the league last year, had his breakout year, the Colts still threw the ball 516 times. I feel like is that a lot? I think that's a lot.
Did you compare it to the rest of the league?
No. Didn't think to. But in terms of that, they threw the ball 500 times. Last year, Michael Pittman had 1,082 yards on 129 targets. So out of the 516 times that they threw the ball last year, Michael Pittman had 129 of those targets. Look at it like this. It doesn't matter what quarterbacks did last year if they threw the ball a lot or didn't throw the ball a lot, because the fact of the matter is Matt Ryan throws to his receiver once. That's the thing. In 2015, Julio Jones had 203 targets. In 2018, Julio Jones had 170 targets, and Calvin Ridley had 92 as the receiver too. In 2017, Julio Jones had 148 targets. In 2020, Calvin Ridley had 143 targets. Julio Jones had 70. Matt Ryan is not afraid to throw to his receivers, and at that time they were making Super Bowl runs. They had Devontae Freeman, who wasn't the top running back in the league, but he was pretty serviceable.
To debunk your Colts theory, they're 28th in terms of
Oh, so they didn't throw the ball a lot. They didn't throw the ball a lot, but Michael Thomas still made the most of it. That's what I was trying to say. But the thing is, Matt Ryan throws to his receiver ones. In 2021, Michael Pittman Jr. he had about a route. He had a 96% route to snap share. So on 96% of the Colts offensive snaps, Michael Pittman was running a route. That's good. It's a lot. I mean, that shows they run a lot of play action. They throw the ball a lot. I think that Michael Pittman Jr. is going to thrive. Like I said, Matt Ryan is not afraid to use his receiver ones. Michael Pittman is the receiver one for the Colts. They have Alec Pierce as a receiver two, another guy who's a potential sleeper this year. He could be my Amon-Ra St. Brown for this year. But Michael Pittman, he's my number 8th ranked receiver for a reason. Matt Ryan throws to his receiver ones. Michael Pittman is coming off 130 targets, 1,100 yards last year. So Michael Pittman's going to pick up where he left off last year. I think Michael Pittman honestly could crack the top 5 fantasy football wide receivers this year. I think the Colts have a lot of success. I think they win their division, and I think they're a sneaky team to make some noise, especially down the stretch, with how good Michael Pittman's going to be, with how good Jonathan Taylor is, the offensive line, and Matt Ryan. So watch out. Michael Pittman this year, he's going about the 3rd or 4th round. If you can get him in the 4th round, amazing value. Take a shot on him in the 3rd round. If you go 2 stud running backs, I would not be opposed to grabbing Michael Pittman in the 3rd round just because the upside is there, and I think he is going to have a great year. So this year, Michael Pittman Jr. is my first and biggest my guy this year.
All right. Now it's time for my first my guy. This is a guy that Anthony does not like whatsoever.
Not even the slightest bit. He's probably on the tier above like Antonio Gibson for me. It's how much I don't like him.
And that's great.
And I don't like him. It's not. He's probably a good person. I just don't like him in terms of fantasy football, you know?
It's really as simple as this. It's Mike Williams. Why?
I can't do it.
There is multiple reasons why it is Mike Williams, and I am here to give you all of these reasons. Now,
give it to me.
First.
Hey, yo.
First reason. He saw 21% of the target share last season for the team that threw the ball the 3rd most in the NFL. Chargers were the 3rd behind Tampa Bay, Kansas City. Then it was the Chargers. Chargers have one of the best offensive lines in football. Top 10. Pretty easy to say. Corey Linsley is the main guy.
Yeah.
Rashawn Slater is also one of those guys.
They drafted Zion Johnson.
Then they also have Bulaga.
No, they don't have Bulaga.
Would he retire?
Slater took his spot. Here, let me just look. I mean, I don't mean to cut you off.
I think they have both of them. Anyways, they still have one of the best O-lines, top 10. They have one of the most up-and-coming quarterbacks that you could possibly imagine in football. That is Justin Herbert. Some argue he is top 5 already.
Storm Norton, Zion Johnson, Corey Linsley, Matt Filer, Rashawn Slater. It's a big hole at right tackle, but it's fine. We do it. Giant gaping hole at right tackle, but it's fine.
Dude, we're fine.
What?
They have Justin Herbert, who is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in football eventually. He's definitely going to be one of the best in pure arm talent. You got Mike Williams, a guy who got the bag, 20 mil a year? Something light.
Extreme overpay.
That's what you see. But as a fantasy guy, I see the better version of Kenny Galladay. Keenan Allen is getting up there in age. He's 30, 31.
I truly think Kenny Galladay is better than Mike Williams.
Okay.
I really do.
Kenny Galladay might get cut.
No fucking way.
He sucked in camp. I don't know if you paid attention. Keenan Allen is arguably on his way out. Mike Williams is on his way up. He got 20% of the target share last year. He has a chance to get more than that this year. There's really not many. There's nobody else in the Chargers that they can throw to besides Keenan Allen.
2 words for you. Well, 4 words for you.
Who?
Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
Josh Palmer.
They still threw the ball 674 times last year. And it's if we're being honest, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, that's 674 targets divided by 3 guys. That's 230 targets each one of them. That's a record.
How many targets did Jared Cook have? Because Justin Herbert was dying to throw to his tight end last year.
And now Jared Cook's gone. So there's more targets too. Mike Williams. Simple.
Gerald Everett.
Mike Williams, he had his games last season. He had his bad games last season. There's a whole lot of red, but the green is green. Holy shit, the green is green. He still finished as the wide receiver 10.
Did he? Oh my god.
He had bad games. I
so
understand that 100%. But he is in a division that has to throw the ball. He plays the Chiefs twice a year. He plays the Raiders twice a year. He plays the Broncos twice a year. They're going to have to throw the ball. They have the 13th easiest strength of schedule to wide receivers. I'm in on Mike Williams. They're paying him $20 million a year to do something. The Chargers, they don't go out in free agency and go bring in a receiver, which tells me that they are confident. Yeah, woo, we're worth $8 billion, but we can't win a Super Bowl in 30 years.
It's Jerry's world, baby.
Jerry's world. I'm just living in it.
Yep.
The Chargers, they don't bring in anybody in free agency, and they pay Mike Williams, which tells me they are confident in Mike Williams. I am too. I think Justin Herbert and I think Mike Williams is going to be the one on this team. I think Herbert and his relationship keep growing, and I think he's going to be a dominant force in fantasy this year. I'm getting him in the 4th round. He's going to be my wide receiver 1 because I go running back heavy, and I'm completely fine with it.
I'm going to stay on the receiver train. This receiver is another one of my guys, and a guy that I'm personally taking over Mike Williams this year, although it's not saying much. That is DJ Moore of the Carolina Panthers. He is my personal number 13th ranked wide receiver for fantasy football. In terms of PPR, he's a consensus ranked receiver 16. Listen, Baker Mayfield is a guy who Ryan and I are both very high on. As you guys see, we got a signed helmet in his cards right here. I have his rookie card collection, a lot of them. This is the best quarterback DJ Moore's ever had. Baker Mayfield is a dog. He will play through injury.
Dog.
He will go out there. He's got swag. He will go out there, he'll play through an injury, and he'll go out there and ball out. Okay.
Let me ask you just a quick question.
Talk to me.
Just because you shit on Mike Williams, I'm going to shit on you here. How many touchdowns does DJ Moore have in his career?
In what, 3? What's he been playing for, 3 years?
Yep.
I'm going to say 8.
Mike Williams had 9 in a year.
With who throwing the
Rest
ball?
my case.
With who throwing the ball?
Justin Herbert still there.
Okay.
Give me Mike.
Who in the Hoover Dam was throwing DJ Moore the ball?
Give me
Sam Darnold,
Mike.
PJ Walker, XFL legend? I mean,
DJ Moore can do whatever the hell he wants this year. He still won't catch
Listen,
Mike
okay,
Williams in touchdowns.
DJ Moore finished as wide receiver 19 last year with bums at quarterback with minimal touchdown upside. Since 2018, DJ Moore's been in the league. He's seen an excess amount of targets. 82, 135, 118, and last year he had 163 targets. And Ryan, you may say, you think Christian McCaffrey is going to play a big role. In Christian McCaffrey's 1,300-yard season, rushing yard season, DJ Moore saw 135 targets, which is pretty good for being the receiver 1 with the running back who's having a great year. Similar to why I like Michael Pittman. DJ Moore's another guy who also ran a route on 90% of the team snaps last year, which is a big deal. They were on an offense last year with nobody, and he finished as receiver 19, which really isn't bad for being a Sam Darnold, Kyle Allen, PJ Walker-led team. Now, to be fair, he had more bad games than good last year, but that was last year with a bum at quarterback. He's got Baker Mayfield now, one of my favorite players in the league. He's got Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield with receivers not named Odell Beckham Jr. Baker Mayfield, his first and second year, he had Jarvis Landry as 19th and 13th fantasy football wide receiver in total through PPR. He had Jarvis Landry ranked 19 and 13. I don't know about you guys, but I think DJ Moore is probably a little bit better than Jarvis Landry. DJ Moore will be fine. He's one of my guys for a reason. I think this is finally the year he's going to catch more than 2 touchdowns in a season, just because I think that they have Baker now. They just announced him the starter this morning, it'll be this morning, the day we're recording this, probably 2 days ago when you guys are seeing this. But DJ Moore is one of my guys. I have him at 13 for a reason. I think he's in for a big year. He puts up the yards. He gets a lot of targets. Now he just needs to put all the pieces together and catch some touchdowns, which I think this is the year he finally does because he finally has a real quarterback under center.
My next guy, this is a guy that is not beautiful at all. This is a guy that I am projecting to have a good year because there is no statistic that is going to prove it.
Rashad
Bateman.
Beat my meat, Bateman.
Okay. It's a great way to start it out.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, right? Rashad Bateman didn't have a great year last year. I can't pull up numbers like he did with DJ Moore. It's not really easy for me to do it. But I can tell you this. Marquis Brown is gone. Marquis Brown was the wide receiver 23 last year. And we all know Marquis Brown, he was either getting you 20 points or he was getting you 0 points.
Yeah.
As shown here. Rashad Bateman is going to be different than that because Rashad Bateman is going to be more dependable. He is going to be the Mark Andrews of wide receivers in terms of he is going to catch the ball and help out the quarterback more than a Marquis Brown does. Marquis Brown saw a shit ton of targets last year. He saw 145.
Damn.
And all of those targets are gone. Why? Because Marquis Brown's gone. Now, he will mention Tylan Wallace, Lil Jordan Humphrey, who's not even on the team no more.
Lil Jordan Humphrey is a New England Patriot.
I know.
Put some respect.
There's nobody on the Baltimore Ravens besides Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman. I know Tylan Wallace, and I know the J.K. Dobbins believers.
Yeah, for some reason.
But J.K. Dobbins, I'm telling you right now, and I'm making it very, very, very clear, he's not going to be healthy.
He's not. He forced himself back, and he sucks.
And the Ravens are going to not be able to run the ball often. J.K. Dobbins is a guy that I'm looking at next year, not this year. The Ravens are going to have to throw the ball this football season. Mark Andrews is going to be the main target. Yes, I understand that, and that's why Mark Andrews is a late second, early third round target that I love.
Yes.
But Rashad Bateman, to be able to get some type of value like this in a 6th, 7th round, especially in your friends and family league where you can get him probably much later because literally nobody knows who Rashad Bateman is.
Yeah.
I think it's great value. He's going to see a shit ton of targets. There's 145 for Marquis Brown alone. Rashad Bateman was good last year when he was playing. He got a shit ton of first downs. Lamar Jackson looked for him on 3rd down. And that should tell you something. At the end of the season, he started playing a lot more of the snaps. And he was the number 3. Now he's the number 2, number 1 receiver. I just think Rashad Bateman's going to have a good year this year. The Ravens are going to have to throw the ball. In a PPR, Rashad Bateman's going to be a stud. It is stamped. I'm telling you that right here, right now.
And I agree with that, especially with how loaded the AFC is and how tough the Ravens' schedule is. They're going to be playing teams that have high-powered offenses. Yes, the Ravens' defense is good to where they may be able to keep them in some games. But if it comes down to it, they're going to have to throw the ball. Teams are going to key on Mark Andrews, which, to your advantage, is going to have Rashad Bateman seeing a lot more targets and getting a lot more open. That's why they drafted him at the end of the 1st round or the 2nd round in the draft when they drafted him last year.
Yeah.
My guy, going a little deeper in the draft, we planned this out well. Romandre Stevenson of my New England Patriots. I know Romandre Stevenson is probably listed as the RB2 on the Patriots depth chart, but take it from me as a Patriots fan. The same thing happened last year with Sony Michel. Sony Michel, he was on the final year of his contract. The Patriots talked about trading him. Damian Harris had a pretty good end of the season the year before that. So what did the Patriots do? They traded Sony Michel, and they gave Damian Harris the reins. The Patriots have not ruled out trading Damian Harris 100% yet. I mean, literally, James White retired last week, and the day James White retired, Romandre Stevenson literally took over as the James White, catching passes. He's a phenomenal blocker, which is, I mean, in the Patriots offense, running backs that can block it's a really big deal, especially in that Bill Belichick offense where you're throwing the ball out, where you're running a lot of play action. Having a running back that can block is a really big deal. Romandre Stevenson is one of the best pass-blocking running backs in the NFL. He's not afraid to put his body on the line and go ahead and make a big block to save the quarterback. Last year, Romandre Stevenson, he only played in 13 games. Through those 13 games, he averaged 12 yards a carry. He rushed the ball 133 times with 606 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns, while splitting the ball with Damian Harris. They were literally, if you look at their numbers through the final weeks of the season, they were in a 50-50 split. And Romandre Stevenson, he didn't score as many touchdowns, but he was involved in the passing game. He had 18 targets for 120 yards, no receiving touchdowns through 13 games. It's a little under 1 target a game, maybe. I don't know how math works. I'm not good at math. But, I mean, he finished as the RB25 last year, only playing 13 games. And that was only 8 spots behind Damian Harris, who played in all of the games and who had an amazing breakout year, scored a lot of touchdowns. Romandre Stevenson was only 8 spots behind him while playing 5 or 6 less games, putting up similar numbers the second half of the season. Now you're saying, Anthony, Romandre Stevenson is the backup running back. Ryan's been saying for weeks, Ryan and I have both been saying for weeks, Romandre Stevenson's going to take over as a starter. It's the Patriot way. And I know the Patriots running backs for fantasy are iffy, and they've been in the past. But what they've done the past few years, the Patriots just go through running backs. Some names that come to mind. Stephen Ridley, Shane Vereen, Deion Lewis. Deion Lewis won the Super Bowl won the Super Bowl for us in overtime against the Falcons, and the Pats let him walk. The Patriots just go through running backs. They drafted Romandre Stevenson in the, 3rd, 4th round for a reason? Mm-hmm. Was he? They did it for a reason. He was great last year when he played. Again, Bless you. He only played in 13 games.
Appreciate it.
He put up really big numbers, and he was in a 50-50 split with Damian Harris. He brings a lot more to the passing game that Damian Harris does, and he brings a lot more to the blocking game that Damian Harris does. And is also, again, like I said, the Patriots have been fielding trade calls for their left tackle Isaiah Wynn and for Damian Harris, guys that are both on contract years. So be on the lookout for that. Romandre Stevenson, in your home leagues, you're probably looking at about the, what would you say, like the 9th, 10th round in like a home league. In like
10th, 11th, you could
yeah, and in other leagues with guys that kind of know what they're doing, you're probably looking at like the 7th or 8th round. Because I mean, that's when Ryan and I are both starting to look at him. I feel like 7th, 8th range.
I'm trying to see when you got him.
I want to say like 8th.
See if I can find him.
But yeah, we had a fantasy draft on last Friday, and I took Romandre Stevenson in the.
I took Pierce in the 8th, and you took Romandre in the 7th.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, and we were in there with guys that kind of knew what they were doing. I mean, we drafted together.
Yeah.
So I mean, Romandre Stevenson, you're getting a starting running back in the 7th to 11th round. He may not be the week 1 starter, but I guarantee you Romandre Stevenson is going to take over as the RB1. He's going to be heavily involved in the Patriots offense, which revolved last year around checkdowns to the running backs. I mean, J.J. Taylor was catching passes last year after James White went down. The Patriots love to throw the ball to their running backs. That's like a focal part of their offense, and Romandre Stevenson is that guy. He's been turning heads in camp. He's playing good in the preseason. He's going to give Damian Harris a run for his money this year. That's why Romandre Stevenson is my third and final my guy for this year.
My third and final my guy for this year, and this guy is going to be an extreme value in drafts. Similar to Romandre Stevenson, I do think Romandre Stevenson has more league-winning upside. But this guy, I really think that he's going to be more of a threat earlier than Romandre Stevenson. He just might have less of an upside than Romandre Stevenson, and that is Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce, he's probably getting drafted like in some of your home leagues, especially before preseason started. That's why I kind of drafting before preseason. He's kind of getting drafted in 10th, 11th, 12th rounds, especially in home leagues because he's a Houston Texan for one. And people just don't know who he is. People think that Marlon Mack is the guy. People think that Rex Burkhead might be the guy. But I'm here to tell you that he's not. Dameon Pierce is going to end up, he already is, honestly. He already is a starting running back for the Houston Texans. His first preseason game, he averaged 9.8 yards per carry, 5 times 48 yards. It doesn't mean too much. Marlon Mack got the start, but Dameon Pierce just looked better. But this is the big news. He didn't play a second preseason game.
Yeah.
But who did? Marlon Mack and Rex Burkhead.
Yeah.
Him being held out of his preseason game pretty much seals the fact that he is going to be the RB1 on this team.
Yeah.
He is by far and clearly the best back on the football team.
Yeah.
5'10", 220. He has the body to be a bell cow. He hasn't caught a lot of passes in college, which once again, that's why his upside is a little bit lower than Romandre Stevenson's. But I think Dameon Pierce has more of a early impact. Beat reporters already say he's going to take the job. Lovie Smith has already said he wanted to get a better look at other backs, which means he saw enough of Dameon Pierce, which means Dameon Pierce is going to start.
Yes.
Like I said, I know that he's a Houston Texan, and I know that he is the upside's capped. But right now, he's getting drafted behind guys like a Tony Pollard, a Melvin Gordon, even a Devin Singletary, Damian Harris, a James Cook, I feel like you can get him behind James Robinson even. And this guy's a starting running back in football. And getting drafted that late is an extreme value. Yeah. We know how much running backs wear out. He's getting drafted as probably the RB 40, 30, 40. And he's probably going to finish around 20. With his upside being 15. Yeah. If you can get an RB 15 to 20 in the 10th round, it's an extreme value.
Yeah.
Just at a volume standpoint, if he could be your RB 4, you're living life.
Oh my God, yeah. Dameon Pierce is your RB 4, you're set.
Yeah, because he's going to get the touches, and you're going to be fine. I'm really targeting Dameon Pierce this year. He's the safest running back of the three that we've been targeting.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he's safer than Romandre and safer than Brian Robinson.
Yeah, I mean,
Romandre has higher upside, obviously, But I think he's safer.
No, I mean, that's fair to say. I mean, especially because, Damian Harris is still there. And he may see a lot of the short goal line touches.
And they might just do a split to keep him fresh.
Yeah, but I don't see that happening. Like I said, the Patriots did with Sony Michel last year. It sounds like they're trying to make a similar deal with Damian Harris to move him. Let Romandre take over for the final 2 years of his deal. Well, he has, including this year, off 3 years left. They drafted 2 running backs, one guy from South Dakota State, one guy from South Carolina. Patriots love having an RB committee. Romandre is going to take over that committee by storm. And that wraps up our My Guys.
I will also mention this again. I mentioned it on the mock draft. I'll do it again. Target Dameon Pierce, Romandre Stevenson, Brian Robinson.
Devin Singletary.
No, I'm not throwing Devin Singletary in that conversation.
I am.
He is by himself, Devin Singletary. He is. I'm just going to make that clear to the public.
It's fine.
I'm on the Dameon Pierce, Dre Day, and Brian Robinson hype train. I am nowhere near the Devin Singletary hype train.
That's 100% fine. And
just like I'm on the Mike Williams, and he is not.
Yeah, I'm about this far away from the Mike Williams train.
Yeah, I'm through the wall in Devin Singletary. So,
upstairs in the kitchen.
I'm literally gone out the house. But yeah, that's going to wrap up our My Guys. Let us know what you think in the comments. Check out the Fantasy Footballers. And
subscribe to the greatest podcast on turf. Follow us on TikTok. Link in the top of the description has all of our merch in it. And thank you guys for watching and listening. And we'll see you guys later in the week.
See ya.
Peace.